Welcome back to Win U, another episode here. We are going to be talking a little bit of college baseball, a little bit of college softball. College softball, I think, is going to be a little more interesting because she knows a lot more about it. Megan Willis here, Adam Ravenel. I'll let Megan take it away.
Yeah, I think for us in the softball world, we're a couple weeks in front of baseball. We just went through conference tournaments last weekend, so a lot of excitement there. We had our selection show last night. That was wild. I'm sure you were all over it, right?
I was all over it, yeah.
So we're going to talk about that, and we got to introduce our bracket. We partnered with D1 Softball, D1 Baseball, and we're putting out brackets, and so I filled mine out already. Obviously, we're waiting for you to do
working
baseball.
on mine.
Or are you going to try to do softball?
I'm going to do a softball one, yeah. Arkansas.
Okay, well, that's all, and work backwards from there.
Yeah, and then I work backwards. None of the other stuff matters, right?
No, not at all. I think we're going to show my bracket first. Yes? Or are we going to go over some other highlights? We're going to show you, actually. I talked about the tournament that was going on this weekend. This is up in Oklahoma City. This is OU versus Oklahoma State. This is the championship game. And when I tell you OU's good, Adam. 130 home runs on the season, 10 in the Big 12 tournament alone. It was unbelievable. I got to call a game for them on Friday night, and they had 6 in one game. Kinsey Hansen had 5 in the entire tournament. So rightfully so, they earned themselves the #1 spot overall. Some people were sure that maybe UCLA would get it because of RPI, but overall last night, committee gave Oklahoma that #1 seed, and you know what? I think they deserve it.
Power
plays.
Plays.
By the way, they've got a couple pitchers too. They're top 10 in the nation ERA, so.
That works.
Yeah,
that's a good combo. Lots of home runs and great pitching. I think that's what you shoot for.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a pleasure to watch. A little bit difficult for my Longhorn heart, though, to talk about, but they've been so good. On the flip side, speaking of Longhorns, Oregon's getting sent to Texas. Texas got the 12 seed, and maybe you're thinking, because I know you're not following quite as closely, why is that a big deal, Megan? Well, because Texas took their head coach, Mike White, 3 years ago. Mike White was the head coach for Oregon, and his entire staff moved down to Austin, brought a couple of those players. Those players are still on this team, so I have to imagine it's going to get crazy. Haley Cruz, you see here, she was part of Mike White's staff. She gets the go-ahead win, or the RBI there, against Arizona. OU, well, I said that backwards. UO, sorry.
UO.
Yeah, UO, the O.
Hey, there's too many O's and U's, you know?
They are ranked 3 in the Pac-12, but they're coming in as a 2 seed into Austin, so that's going to be a pretty wild regional. That starts this Friday. It's going to be exciting, and I'm kind of bummed I'm not calling that series, to be honest, but probably for the best. No one wants me to be, the biased homer, but I'm just ready for good softball. Texas State will be that, as well as, oh man, put me on the spot. I'm going to come back to that one.
Okay.
The 4th team. Sorry
That's
about
fair.
that. But some of the other, I think, surprises for me in this selection show was just the fact that you had #1 Clemson. Well, they were the regular seasons in ACC champions, and they get sent to #3 Alabama. So for me, that gets pretty wild. That's a hard 2 seed for a #3. You think you're going to be the 3 seed? You should, you think you're going to have like a little bit of a cakewalk, but not for them in this case. So again, last night the selection show went through. We wanted to go and put our own thoughts on it. I was a little biased. I had to put Texas. I mean, easy for you. You're going to put Vanderbilt in yours, yes?
Right, they're going to win, yeah.
I mean, it helps, right? What are they ranked right now?
They're in the top 5, I know. Somewhere between 2 and 4.
Yeah, well, Texas is number 12, so it's not like I'm really being a homer. They have an opportunity to get their way up there.
Right.
But again, fill out your brackets. You guys they're live now. The winner gets a free Oculus and 1-year subscription to Win Reality. So make sure you play. I think we are going to show you. I'm nervous for you guys all to see my picks. You're all going to judge me and tell me I'm wrong, but I'm going to tell you I think I'm right. So here we go.
I believe you.
I mean, most of them I went with the number 1 seed. Most of them, I followed up. Not a whole bunch of upsets. One that I want you to zero in on is that Knoxville Regional bottom left. So I did say Tennessee. However, there's a good chance James Madison could take that from them, mainly because of Odyssey Alexander. It's their starting pitcher. She has a .62 ERA, number 3 in the nation. I do think she can give Tennessee a run for their money. If that were the case, that'd be awesome, because then that kind of mixes up in that super regional. It wouldn't be an SEC on SEC team. I already mentioned how I thought it was kind of bogus to send Clemson to OU or to Alabama.
Right.
I still think Alabama takes that, mainly just because the storied history. Montana Fouts is hitting 73 miles per hour as a pitcher, which is like equivalent to 100, 102 in baseball, just to put that. She's like a fire thrower.
Yeah, that's pretty fast. And from closer.
Yeah, I know. And I guess just because I haven't talked about it enough, pretty wild, again, why Oregon isn't hosting themselves. They were number 3 in the Pac-12. We went right by it. But Arizona got a host, and they were 5. They were 5th in the Pac-12, so that was kind of wild. I think Pac-12 thinks they got host a little bit. For me, I'm always rooting for the underdogs in some of the smaller conferences. I just felt like it was SEC dominant again. You're smirking over there, Vanderbilt. But either way, I'm
SEC
happy
dominant.
my
I've heard that
Longhorns
before.
got to host. And so once you know what it means to host, it's extra,
Huge. Yeah.
You get the fans there, and depending on what state you're in, and the committee took that into account, I think, for some of these hosting sites. You want to
Probably
send
so.
teams to states that are open right now, right? You want to make sure that everyone can move around and they can be at the game, whether it's 50% capacity or what. But
Right.
I think that's a pretty big deal. And I mean, I think I talked about just about everything I want to talk about with softball. It's your turn.
I think you covered it all.
Are you a softball fan now? You know everything?
I feel educated and ready to do my bracket.
All right.
All right, let's flip it over to some baseball action. Of course, we're going to talk about Vanderbilt first, and we are going to focus on their pitching, even though their hitting this past weekend was pretty impressive too. Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter, the most feared duo in college baseball, is just around the corner from postseason play. In Rocker's first taste of the playoffs, he put together arguably his greatest pitching performance ever, a no-hitter with 19 strikeouts in the 2019 Super Regionals. On the other hand, we've got Leiter, who also threw a no-hitter this year, but will get his first crack at the playoffs and has been incredible all year. This is going to be the only chance to see both of them compete as a pitching tandem in the playoffs, as they're obviously going to be selected during the upcoming draft. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be just an absolutely incredible regionals, super regionals leading into the College World Series. We are just so pumped up about that. Offensively, Vandy's been stellar as well, hitting 298, 388, 513. So they can still slug with the best of them, even though they have Rocker and Leiter in their back pocket. It's funny, Vanderbilt is kind of featured often as a pitching dominant school, but in these last couple of years, we've been putting together some good hitting numbers, and that's not throwing shame on 2011 when they had the Westlakes and Kirk Casales, all those guys. But this year, I watched their games in Ole Miss, and that was just like a slugfest. I mean, it was home run after home run. Their shortstop is absolutely incredible. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he's right and left, just hitting homers both ways. So just really impressive there. Obviously, we feature the pitching a lot of the time on Vanderbilt, but had to throw some credit to the hitters as well. Now we're going to jump into a more dominant offense, and we'll dabble in the pitching here. So Arkansas, while getting ready to wrap up a stellar 2021 campaign, doesn't have the same firepower from the pitching staff that Vanderbilt has, but they do have two incredibly talented pitchers who are likely going to be leaned on quite a bit, Patrick Wicklander and Kevin Kopps. Wicklander, despite having a rough outing last time out, still has a 1.93 ERA across 56 innings with 60 strikeouts. Out of the bullpen, Arkansas can and will turn to Kopps when they have the lead or need to turn to a high-leverage reliever. With a 56.1 innings under his belt, Kopps has a pristine .80 ERA with 89 strikeouts and 33 hits allowed. Offensively, their squad is hitting 276, 393, and 488. They've hit 83 homers, racked up 342 RBIs, and scored 382 runs. So these are two absolute dominant schools right now in college baseball, both in the SEC. No, but just what an exciting year for college baseball. Watching these two programs just absolutely dominate. And Vanderbilt, obviously my allegiance is there. We're going to start moving towards the playoffs, regionals, super regionals, what softball just went through as far as unveiling, where the host sites are going to be for all that kind of stuff. That is the most fun time of the year.
Is conference tournament this weekend, you said?
Conference tournament should be coming up. If not this weekend, then one of the next.
Yeah. Cool.
So they'll have SEC tournament, ACC tournament, all those fun ones.
Big 12.
Big 12. Now Texas is up there now too in baseball.
Yeah, I feel like they've been in the top 10 earlier in the season. They were top 5. I think Tech came to town and messed that up for a little bit. They were home when Texas softball was home.
You gotta blame Texas Tech. Right?
Well,
No, so I hope you enjoyed it. We talked a little bit Vanderbilt, Arkansas, and then some on the softball side as well. Probably a better job over on that side than my side, but I'm in training. She's a professional.
It's all right. I've just been like diving deep into that, but you know what? Your bracket's next, so
that's true.
You can enlighten me on how those are going to go. And
I'm taking
all the tips. Is Texas going to make it to the World Series?
That's a good question.
You're not even going to say yes or no?
I'm not going to say yes or no. I don't know if I can.
You're going to wait till the bracket
I don't know if I
comes
can
out?
provide an educated answer yet. I need to do my research, my due diligence, make sure that my picks are strategic. But I know who I think is going to win, and that's Vanderbilt. So.
Well, I didn't say it, but if you guys saw it, my bracket, I decided to go with OU, and that's tough. But they have run
very
ruled.
Professional of you.
I know. They've run ruled like 44 of 47 games this year, so I think they have a chance. UCLA will give them a run for our money. Megan Framo, USA, soon to be USA Olympian, Rachel Garcia, two really incredible pitchers, both top 10 ERA, but you heard 130 home runs. They've got 5 players hitting above like 430.
Yeah, I mean, does anything stay in the field?
No, it's so dumb. They have one player with 26 home runs, a freshman with 24 home runs.
One player with 26
Yeah,
home
I
runs.
wish.
How many games in softball full season?
You get upwards of about 45, 47, I think I just said.
Homer every other game. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no big deal.
That plays. I think hitters would be happy about that.
That's right. So fill out that bracket.
Yes.
Go out, see if you guys can beat my bracket. And then, of course, remember, you got an Oculus and a 1-year membership on the line.
D1softball.com to play. Fill out that bracket. And then, like we said, when baseball rolls around, you'll have the opportunity to do that as well. But thanks for joining us on this episode of Win U. Megan Willis, Adam Ravenel here again, talking a little college baseball and college softball.
I think it's time for a drink.